Hello and welcome to lesson 4 of the Shopify GA4 course. In this lesson, we will be doing troubleshooting for your existing Google Analytics setup, and we will see if things are working as it should be. I guess this could be the most important lesson of the series because most merchants are not aware of the existing problems on their tracking setup, and they just check Google Analytics data, they see some numbers there and then they think it's working. But more often than not, there are either minor problems or major problems. So what we will do in this video is we will double check your GA4 tracking on your store if the pixel is implemented correctly. And if there is a double tracking issue, if the e-commerce events are being sent properly, and then we will dive into data a little bit more in depth and check if the product level data is being sent along with the product view, add to cart and view item list events. We will do the same for the cart level data with view cart and begin checkout events, and then we will also check the order level data with the purchase events. While we are doing that, you will not need to even log into your Google Analytics account or your Google Tag Manager if you are using one. We will just use some simple browser extensions such as Google Tag Assistant Legacy or Analytics Debugger, and we will use some stores that I don't even have access to or I don't know. So let's get started. I will be using some random stores which I brought up here, but of course you should be doing this to your existing store so that you know what's going on. So the first plugin that we will use, it's a Chrome extension. It's called Google Tag Assistant Legacy. You just search Google about it, and then Chrome Web Store extension will come. For now, I just remove the extension for you. I'll add it again. It asks me to add the extension. And once you add the extension to Chrome, you might know that it's now hidden. I just need to go ahead and then enable it. I'll enable it. Now it is visible here like this. There is this little tag icon. So I like this one, even though it's legacy. Legacy means Google doesn't support this extension anymore, but it is still one of the most straightforward and simple solutions to actually debug any store. Now I'll just open a random Shopify store. I have no connection with those. I just googled some Shopify stores and then this came in. When you open the store, make sure you disable your ad blocker. Once you do that, you just go ahead and click Google Tag Assistant extension and then click enable, and then you need to reload the page because now the extension will listen to the page. And here you will see all the tags that are triggered in this specific page load. As you can see, there are 7 tags, and now I will try to explain you what that means. The ones that start with AW are Google Ads remarketing tags, but not all Google Ads remarketing tags start with AW. So it could be that you have remarketing tag, but it doesn't start with AW. It can start with G as well. So never mind if you are not seeing AW here, in case your remarketing is working properly. Then the ones that start with G and then dash, these are the GA4 tags. As you can see here in this store, there are 2 different GA4 tags that are being triggered. There are obviously some use cases for having multiple GA4 property on your store, but if you are not aware of this and if you don't have this use case, so to say, I would recommend you to removing one of them. That means once upon a time you added a GA4 tracking on your store, probably hard-coded, and now you have another integration, so you have 2 integrations. The downside of having 2 integrations is obviously page speed. Every pixel on your store slows down the website, so that's not ideal. And then we go to UA, Universal Analytics, the old script. Then we have here another Google Ads tag, which is fine. And then we have also Google Optimize and Google Tag Manager for this store. Once again, if you have something here that you are not aware, then you should be checking that. That might indicate a problem. But what we are looking actually is that you have a GA4 property here, which is sending data to Google Analytics 4. That's the one thing we want to check. Now let's check another store. Maybe we will catch another use case. I'll just refresh this page. As you can see on this store, there is only Google Ads, another Google Ads, and then there is Universal Analytics. So this store doesn't have GA4 yet, which is pretty late, I guess. Maybe they are using a server-side tracking that we are not able to see now. But that's not so likely. We could even debug that. I will do it in a couple of minutes. But if that's the case for your store, then it's red alert for you. You just go ahead and activate GA4 so that you start tracking with GA4. Let's check another store in the meantime, just so that we have more examples. Because as you know, as examples come up, maybe we will see some different use cases. This store also doesn't seem to have GA4, they have the GTM, Google Tag Manager, and then the Universal Analytics. It seems like that here. So that seems like a problem. Now I will jump into another store here. This is an Asian shop from Estonia where I am located at. As you can see here, they have one G tag, global site tag starts with GA4, and then one Universal Analytics. Pretty simple, pretty plain. It seems that they don't have Google Ads tracking, but maybe they import Google Ads audiences and Google Ads conversion tracking from Google Analytics 4, so that doesn't need to be a problem. So this is the first thing we should be doing. Just visit your website, open Google Tag Assistant and check which tags are being triggered. Are there the ones that you are not aware of? Then you might be looking at removing them. And you might want to keep only one GA4 tag. And if you don't see any GA4 tag, that's already a problem. But of course, this doesn't mean that tracking is proper. This only shows us that you have the GA4 tracking, and hopefully you don't have the double tracking. Because if there was double tracking, if there was the same GA4 tag twice, then Google Tag Assistant Legacy would warn us. Now let's check some e-commerce events. Now I will use another extension. This extension called Analytics Debugger. You can install it in the same way that you installed Google Tag Assistant Legacy. You could just go ahead, search this, and then obviously the first result will be Google Chrome, add it. But this time the extension will not be accessible from here. The extension is accessible from Google Developer Console because it is doing something slightly more sophisticated. For that, you could just go ahead, click View, Developer, JavaScript Console, and then go ahead here, click Analytics Debugger. As I have the Analytics Debugger plugin now, I just need to go ahead, click View, Developer, JavaScript Console, and my console automatically comes at the right column. If you want yours to be there as well, you could easily click this tree, and then you could choose this, and then it will show in the site. Now I just want to click here these arrows and then click Analytics Debugger. Once I hit start debugging, then the process will start. So now we are seeing which tags are being triggered from this store. This is GTM GTag, this is GA3, Universal Analytics, and then this is GA4. And we are interested in GA4 obviously. So now this is the home page. Let's view once again and let's go to GA4. Page view event is being triggered for two different, for two different GA4 accounts. And now let's just find a collection page. Collection page. If I just click here, I am on collections blenders. I come to GA4. As you can see here, I do not see any specific event that is being triggered. So here, what should have been triggered is view item list event. Let me quickly show you that. View item list, Google Analytics 4 through Google's documentation. As you can see here, view item list event, when a user presents a list of results, send the view item list event, include in events parameter. In Shopify environment, this is used for collection pages because now a user is viewing list of items. Then once I click to one of these items, similar thing should happen. Then we have select item event. As you can see on Google's example here, we also have select item from the list, select item events. That also has not been triggered. Maybe they are using the native integration. As I mentioned earlier, the native integration does not cover these events. Let's check add to cart event. I'll just choose something. I'll click add to bag. And add to bag event is also not triggered. Oh, okay, it is triggered. Sometimes it takes time to load. That's what happened. So it's always good to wait. And now when I click add to cart event, I should see the details. I should see the product's item ID, undefined. So there is an issue here. There is an error here actually. By the way, I have no connection with this store. I don't know them. They are not our client or something. But maybe they will watch this video and realize their problem. The product price are not included there. And the item ID is also not correct here. So they have an issue definitely with this add to cart event. And now let's check, let's click checkout. I expect to see a begin checkout event here, which happened, which is good. And as you can see here, the value is here, but the value does not include the currency. According to Google's documentation, we could check here easily the checkout event, initiate the checkout process, begin. As you can see here, every value needs to have the currency. So this is an issue, another important issue, I guess, on this store. And I could just continue doing this and find more e-commerce events missing of this store. So now we checked some e-commerce events. We also checked some product level data. The item ID was not there. Now let's check the product view event. Now let's check another store and see the view item event there. I'll just click shop now. And then I'll choose a coffee here. As you can see here in GA4, we have the view item event. I'll just choose that. And then if we go down, we will see the item ID, item name, price, item category, and item brand. And the same store has another view item event. As you can see here, this is sent to this GA4 property, and this is sent to this GA4 property. They will have different data sets because they are using different integrations. Now we have more in-depth data. We have again item ID, name, brand, SKU, handle, price, list position, retail, etc. So that's how you can check events and the parameters within the events in depth. I don't want to spend more time in here, but I would like to mention that in our upcoming complete Shopify GA4 course, we will dive deep into this section even more. We will check all the events and we will compare all the events of the native integration, all the events of Analyzify, and a couple of other integrations. For now, I will come to the last phase. We will test together a purchase event. Testing a purchase event is quite important because, you know, purchase is the most important event, and that's the one that you want to make sure that is going into GA4 perfectly fine. So this was the test store I created. You could do this for your own store as well. This time I will use a different testing method. I will use Google's online tag assistant. You know, I told you that this tag assistant is legacy and this is the new one. New one is not an extension anymore. It's just an online source. Here, when you open the tag assistant, you should just click add domain. For my case, I will add my domain and it will get connected. Once it is connected, as you can see here, the data is visible here and the property is here, and we can see the events on the left hand side. What I want to do is I just want to click a product. Let's go back. As you can see, we have the view item event. If I just click here, I can see the data layer. As you can see, variant is empty. Let's see if this product has any variant. Maybe we can choose another product. Okay, this product has some variants. Let's choose that. Let's go. We click view item. As you can see, this time we have the items and then we have the variants. So things, and then we have the ID correctly placed. Remember in one of those previous stores that we checked, this ID was wrong. It was written like undefined, and this is actually finely defined. Now let's click add to cart. Add to cart event is being triggered. Value, currency, things seem quite well. Now let's click view cart. View cart event is not triggered because this store is using native integration, Google Sales Channel app, and Google Sales Channel app does not have the view cart event. That's why we did not have. Now let's click checkout. Let's see. Begin checkout. Now we see the checkout, cart data. All seems well here. Let's go and I'll just fill this form. So I fill this form, click continue shopping, go to payment. Now in these steps, as you can see here, we don't have any other events that are triggered, but we could actually have add shipping info event because I just added the shipping info, but it's not being triggered because it is not covered in the native integration again. So now it asks me to put the credit card in. I guess this is a test store already, so I could just put anything. If I remember correctly, this should work. Now I expect this order to be completed properly. Then I should have a purchase event here. This is the data layer of the purchase event, which worked quite well. If I click here, then I can see the detailed data that is being sent to GA4 along with this purchase event. All seems good here. As told earlier, a couple of important metrics are missing. For example, if we use the coupon code, probably we wouldn't see it here. But the basics are here, the product ID is here. For instance, SKU is not here. If you need SKU, that's not included. The order transaction ID is here, but the checkout ID or order ID is not here. User ID, now as I'm logged in, for example, Shopify already creates a user in the backend for me. Normally in the integrations, in the professional integrations like Analyzify, we send the user data, user ID, user's name, user's email, user's lifetime value, how many products that this user purchased earlier, etc. They were also being sent in normal conditions, but in the native integration it's not sent. However, all the rest is fine. Now this purchase event, let's go into GA4. Make sure that you are checking the same GA4. Let's go here. I'll just click reports. I'll go to real time. This is me. Now you can see here that there is purchasers, which is me again, and all the events that are being triggered. View item, add payment info, add to cart, begin checkout, purchase. This form submit is just wrong, mistaken. I will show you quickly where it comes from. Google has this setting here in the tag settings. It should actually automatically understand the form submissions, but it never works properly. Pretty much it never works properly, so to say. Sorry, it's here, enhanced measurement. And actually in the next lesson, in GA4 settings lesson, we will touch base here more in depth. I will probably ask you even disable this, because any form-like thing, when we click, Google Analytics thinks that it's a form submission, but it's not a form submission actually, so that's something that we will be talking later on. So what we did now, we troubleshooted our setup. Hopefully you realized if something is not working, and you check the data pieces one by one. Once again, if you need the basic data, as you can see here with the native integration, basic data is already being sent. But sometimes, even if you are using native integration, but something might be wrong with your store, so please do check this flow yourself and make sure that you have all the events that you wish to have. Last but not least, make sure to check Google Tag Assistant Legacy here and make sure that you don't have any pixels that you don't want to send data to. If there are multiple pixels that you are not aware of, you just clean them up. You remove them from your settings, from your Team Liquid file maybe, or maybe if it's coming from an app, you need to either uninstall the app or check the app settings for that. So that's all for now. What we did, we just completed our troubleshooting section now. If there is a trouble now, you know about it. In the next lessons, we will be talking about GA4 settings and then GA4 e-commerce reports. Before we close up, I want to mention that we will do this much more in depth in our complete Shopify GA4 course. Make sure to visit our website, the relevant page, analyzify.com/Shopify GA4 course. Leave your email so that we can notify you with the updates. Maybe we have already released the complete course by the time you are watching this video, so you will see everything in detail in this page. You could just go analyzify.com/Shopify GA4 course and then leave your email there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful and fun. See you in the next video.